So next we are joined by Kalee. Kalee, will you tell us your story, please?
Yes, hi, I'm happy to share. I found out I was pregnant in December 2014. I was celebrating my anniversary with my boyfriend, now husband, in Philly, and I felt terrible. And you know, all the signs were there, but I just refused to believe it. We'd been together for 2 years. We'd had unprotected sex once. I was like, there's no way that I'm pregnant, obviously. But I was. I took a pregnancy test after we got back from our little trip, and it was positive. So I immediately scheduled an appointment with Planned Parenthood to verify, but I knew right away that I wanted to have an abortion. We lived in a group house, which would not have been a great setting to have a baby. We weren't ready. We didn't know if we wanted kids generally. We were just at a point in our lives where we were really unsure what we wanted for our future. So there was no hesitation. I scheduled my appointment, went in, they verified. I was 6 weeks, so it was still early enough that I could get the pills, so that's what I decided to do. And so I scheduled that appointment and went in, took the first pill, went home, took the second pill, and it was terrible. They tell you what's going to happen, that nothing happens after the first pill, but after the second pill, you'll have really bad cramping after a few hours. You'll start throwing up. You'll start bleeding. And 5 hours after I took the second pill, it hit me, and it was very uncomfortable, and I can't imagine having done it by myself. My husband was with me at the time, and he stayed with me throughout. I took the pills on a Friday, and he stayed with me the whole weekend and made sure that I was okay. And after it was over, I was bleeding for 2 months after that, pretty much like I was on a really heavy period, and I wasn't expecting that. And so I called Planned Parenthood, and they told me that was normal as long as the clots weren't too big. So I felt pretty safe, and again, at no point did I regret my decision. I told a couple people, I didn't tell any of my family, and I didn't really think a lot about it until a few months later, those Project Veritas videos about the baby parts came out, and the woman started the Shout Your Abortion campaign, and Planned Parenthood was in the news pretty much every day, and it really started to affect me, and I started feeling like we fought for so long for the rights that we have. Why are we fighting for the same rights still? Like, why are we going through this again? It's been, 50 years, and we've done this already. So I posted on Facebook about what had happened to me, and again, kind of saying, like, I don't regret this, just telling my story on a Facebook post. One of my friends works at U.S. News and World Report, and she messaged me privately and asked if I wanted to write a longer story for their publication, and I said that I would do it. So I wrote a longer piece, expanded on my Facebook post, and they posted it, and I was really nervous about it because a lot of women that were sharing, I know, were being harassed online. So I made my Twitter private, my Instagram private, my Facebook private, because I was afraid that people were going to, find me and dox me. So I shut everything down and published my story. I felt really good about it. And then they share their stories with Yahoo News, who they accept comments. So there were 2,000 comments on my story, and most of them were terrible, saying that I should have been aborted and stuff like that. And it really got me down. I didn't feel bad. Again, I didn't regret my decision, but I just felt bad that so many people were angry at me and saying really terrible things. But then I got a Facebook message from a young woman who said that she was 22, she had a 2-year-old, she was pregnant, and she couldn't afford to have this baby, and she had found my article and wanted to know if I would walk her through the process because she was also going to be taking the pills. And I said yes, of course, and I messaged with her every day up until she had her appointment, and I checked in on her and made sure she was okay. And she had her mom with her, so it's not like she didn't have support with her while she was going through it, but she still wanted advice from somebody who had been through it before. And that that moment changed my life in a pretty significant way, and I realized that it wasn't enough for me just to share it. I needed to be there for women who needed help and who needed support and who wanted to share, because I also was getting messages from women who I went to high school with, who one of them, their mom had forced her to have an abortion, or another one of them already had 4 kids and she couldn't afford to have another one, and she had been ashamed and embarrassed to tell anybody, but she shared it with me. And that's what I knew, that I needed to talk about it, even if that meant sort of stigmatizing myself and being sort of the abortion girl who talks about it all the time, posts about it all the time, and I didn't care about that. I wanted to be that person because I saw that it was meaningful for other people. So that's why I chose to share my story, and I'm still sharing it now, and I'm really happy to be able to have the opportunity to do that.
Thank you so much, Kalee.